What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the JTW Sports Show. We're back. We just experienced probably the greatest weekend in NFL playoff history, and we're here to talk about it. Will, TJ, how you guys feeling, buddy?
I'm great. I don't know about that statement. I mean, I'm sure there's been some other that were better, but I mean, this one was pretty good.
There's probably another weekend of great NFL, but I mean, this weekend was wild. This weekend was better than wild card weekend.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. No, this was the greatest series of NFL games I've ever seen in my life. You had, and I don't see how you can really argue that. I mean,
you can't argue it. The game itself weren't interesting until the last 2 minutes, you could say, in every game.
No, I'm just saying out there somewhere, I know that I can't really remember any much off the top of my head, but I know there's some playoffs that had games like that.
To me, the Packers 49ers game wasn't crazy till the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. Other than that, it was just back and forth.
Okay, well let's start with that one then. Let's start with that one. Green Bay versus San Francisco. I think everybody was kind of positive that Green Bay was going to come in and pretty much wipe.
Well, hell, after the first drive, everyone thought that they took it right down the field and scored.
Yeah, and they didn't do anything the rest of the game.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't know how y'all feel about it. Everybody says Aaron Rodgers choked once again. He always chokes, all this and that.
Aaron didn't lose the game, but he didn't win the game either.
Yeah, he did not do enough on offense to win the game. But I will say this. I did a little bit of research and did a little bit of the stuff that I like to do. And I figured out that before this game, in his losses in the playoffs, in his 9 playoff losses, 8, in the ones he started in 8, because one of them was before he started.
He started.
In his 8 losses, his team gave up 40 points per game. And he averaged, I want to say 31 points per game is what it was. So in my opinion, if you're averaging 31 points per game, you should be winning a lot of those games.
Absolutely.
There was one game where his defense gave up, he scored 40 points and his defense gave up 45. Bro, if you like the Bills, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but they scored 36 points. They gave up 42. So yes, Aaron Rodgers, he didn't do enough this game, but I promise you, if you put him on the teams that Tom Brady was on, he would have the same amount of Super Bowls.
I think Aaron didn't lose this game. Their special teams did. All season long, their special teams has been, everyone's like, Green Bay's the elite team, but their special teams is going to catch up to them. And what do you know? They had the game won. They had it won. Their defense was shutting down Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Jimmy Garoppolo started the game 0 for 6. But a bunch of that wasn't on him. I can't say. He put a couple good balls and his receivers dropped it. His first completion of the game was, I'm pretty sure, a pass he tried to throw out of bounds, and Kittle just magically caught it and stayed in bounds. It was the craziest thing. Their defense played well. Their special teams decided to choke in 2 occasions. The punt for the touchdown, to where it set up them to lose, and then the blocked field goal right before halftime. Mm-hmm. That would have put them up 10-3 going into halftime.
And then on top of that, they only had 10 men on the field the last play of the game. Which, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter, but who knows, that extra guy could have blocked the field goal. You don't know.
If I were Matt LaFleur, I'd fire my special teams coordinator.
I'm surprised he's not fired already, honestly.
I think that they need a change. And speaking of change, I think that's exactly what's going to happen, but not for the betterment of this team. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is coming back. I don't think Davante Adams is coming back. I think they're going to lose big time in free agency, and they're gonna start a big time rebuild. I don't know how I feel about this pack. If they can bring back their guys, I think this Packers team once again is going to be a playoff team next year and probably a Super Bowl contender. But they're going to have to lose a lot in free agency because they don't have the money to bring everybody back. So
I think
my bold take is Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be back in Green Bay.
If Aaron comes back, Davante Adams will come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they're a package deal. But
where do you think Aaron and Davante are going to go?
You see, I hate it so much, but I can see Aaron finding his way to the Saints. I would hate
see Aaron
so
hanging
much.
it up.
I don't know. I think
Yeah,
Aaron's
nah,
still,
I don't think he's
I
gonna
think
do
he's
that.
proved he's about to win the MVP. I think he's proved that he's got at least 3 more years in him.
I agree, but every interview he's done since losing, everything alluded to that he's done, that he's hanging it up.
I mean, Tom Brady alluded to that 3 years ago.
And then
And I mean,
at
look at him.
5 years ago, and he's won 3 Super Bowls since. I mean,
Yeah.
True. I mean, true.
yeah. It's
So I don't. Sorry.
nah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't know where Rodgers is gonna go. I think there's a lot of teams that could really be good with him. I mean, there's Denver, for example. Denver, they're missing a quarterback. I think if they get Rodgers back, I think they'll get Von Miller back. And I think if there's a chance they might get Brian Flores back, say if Deshaun Watson doesn't go to them. So I mean, I like Denver's future if they can do what they can.
And Aaron said he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild.
No,
So if
yeah,
that's the
he's gonna
direction,
go to
if
a
that's the
team.
direction Matt LaFleur and Green Bay's going, Aaron's out.
Here's a wild card for you. The Steelers,
See, it's interesting.
maybe.
I mean, I think he could.
Interesting, but that defense.
I think he takes the Steelers to being Super Bowl contenders. I really do.
I've also seen stuff about the Browns, and that would be interesting.
He
I
wouldn't
just
go
think,
to Cleveland though.
I think for him, the best fit would be New Orleans and going to the Saints with that defense, with their young talent, with their offense, their offensive line. I think that team is a serious Super Bowl contender, and the NFC South would be absolutely stacked with 2 teams. The other teams suck, but we don't have to talk about that. But speaking of NFC South,
Panthers and the Falcons, and then the other teams.
yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Now, speaking of NFC South, the Buccaneers. Wow. I mean, that was a hell of a game itself.
Tom almost did it again.
Tom almost did it again.
I will say before the game, we sent in our scores to our group chat, and I said I'm gonna go Rams 31-28. Ended up being 30-27. But about halfway through the second quarter, TJ goes, "What are the odds they get up 28-3?" And Tom comes back, and they ended up getting up 27-3.
And that's why they didn't complete it.
Exactly. And we were like, dude, they're about to. I was like, I can't believe they're about to come back and win this. Because I believe that if it would have went to overtime, that Tampa Bay would have won.
Oh yeah,
because they had all the momentum. But they ended up, for some reason, I don't know what Antoine Winfield Jr. was doing, letting Cooper Kupp just run right past him. But that was a crazy game.
They ran a full-on cover zero, full blitz,
and they almost didn't get it. If you rewatch the clip, because I rewatched, the play and then the kick, their running back was trying to run off the field.
Oh, I didn't see that.
If you watch, Stafford's yelling at everybody on the ball, whoever it may not have been a running back, it could have been a receiver. A skilled position tried to run off the field, and he grabbed him and said, "What are you doing? Get on the ball!" And then they all haul it, and then he does it. But I mean, think about it. If they have that transition of him running off the field and then them not getting someone on, that game does go to overtime. And that's a simple I'm just going to run off the field. But Tom almost did it.
I was worried that the play was going to be, they gained so many yards on the play that they weren't going to have enough time to get on the ball and spike it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was like 20-something seconds when they ran the play. So I knew that they were going to be able to, but I was nervous to see kind of same thing Tita just said. If someone was going to mess up, if someone was going to expect for the field goal team to automatically come on the field and do one of those. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how that would have went. But, I mean, amazing game. Tom Brady.
Well, question for you. Shannon Sharp this morning. I'm not a huge Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp fan. I think they're the two most toxic duo on sports radio, pretty much.
Good thing we're a trio, right?
Shannon Sharp said that Tom Brady does not have one of the greatest legacies in football. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I think
I need to watch the video because I have a feeling of what he's going to say. I have a feeling that he's going to say because he was on the Patriots, and that's why. And like I said earlier,
I'm trying to find the exact quote.
I don't think it matters the situation. Tom Brady has one of the greatest legacies in all of sports history. Yeah. He's one of the greatest athletes in all of sports history. I think maybe the ratings were going down a little bit, and they needed to spark some stuff up. So,
but
okay, Skip tweeted out, if Brady is done, was his the greatest career in sports history? Shannon says no.
Okay, so you're talking about sports history.
I think I misread. Yeah. Okay. In football, yes. In sports, no.
Okay. I mean, I can.
Yeah.
Bill
No,
Russell
no,
has
no.
11
Shannon
rings.
Shannon didn't say that. Shannon still says no in general. I read one of the comments people were saying in sports, or in football, yes, in sports, no. But I think that's debatable because when it comes,
I think one of the things in having a great legacy is also ending up in the right situation. Let's be honest. I mean,
yeah,
he ended up playing for the Patriots, who in the last 20 years have been the best franchise in the NFL. Then he went to Tampa Bay, where they had one of the best rosters in the league. Where you look at Michael Jordan, he ended up in Chicago and then ended up getting Phil Jackson as the coach, who's one of the better coaches in the history of the NBA, along with Scottie Pippen, other players like that. So when you look at like legacies, you have to, yes, it's individual player, but you also have to look at what
was around them.
What was around them.
Yeah, and then there's LeBron, who, he brought nothing to the finals, had Ty Lue as his coach, but he made his own legacy. I'm just trying to stir up Will right there.
I hope Brady's not done. I don't think Brady will let himself go out on a loss.
Well, I mean, you've seen what Brady's been saying, and he's been talking about how Giselle, his wife, how she braces for every hit he takes, and she gets upset and stuff, and how he wants to be
He's
there.
45.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, makes sense. But he wants to be able to be there for his wife and for his kids, and kind of be healthy for that. And I mean, that's a good idea for him. But you can quite clearly see he has so much left in the tank. I mean, people say like Ben Roethlisberger, for example. Ben Roethlisberger was still okay, but he didn't have the arm that he used to have.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's how Ben Roethlisberger made a name for himself in the league, was his big arm.
Yeah.
Now you see Tom Brady just threw a 56-yard dime to Mike Evans over the best corner in football for a touchdown. I mean, like, Brady still has everything it takes, and he still has decent mobility compared to the rest of his career. So
and now he has his first official unsportsmanlike conduct in his entire career.
Which was kind of,
that was a crazy sequence.
Due to the rule.
I think from that game, and we'll talk more into it leading into next season, the taunting rule needs to be adjusted.
Oh yeah.
I think at some point you got to realize trash talking is going to happen. Yes, once it gets a little excessive, okay. But like,
I could understand if you hurt somebody and you're laying on the ground like flexing over them or something. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like if I make a big hit and it's a clean legal hit, or I sack the quarterback, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I just sacked you. Like, what are you gonna do about it? Obviously,
I mean,
they're not gonna be as nice as that. They're gonna say it in a lot worse way. But
they'll be nice.
They're professional athletes. Like, I don't understand.
They talk
trash in basketball. They talk trash in baseball. They talk trash in hockey. They talk trash in
hockey. Hockey actually lets them fight.
Yeah, they'll just beat each other's ass. But then, hold on, I was gonna say something about taunting. I was like, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but there's times when like they're not even taunting and they'll get taunting penalties.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're celebrating and they call it taunting.
But like there's time. Hell, okay. For example, and I'm gonna bring it back. It's one that I remember. Matt Ryan, when he scored the rushing touchdown, they ended up calling him short, but they said he was taunting, but he was actually like giving himself up on the play by diving. That's by rule in the NFL. They made the rule. That's giving yourself up.
Yeah.
And then he got hit while he was on the ground. So he was like, "Why'd you hit me late? What the hell, dude? Like, ref, come on, that's BS. I gave myself up. That's a personal foul on him." Turns out it's not a touchdown. They're actually down the 1 yard line, 15-yard penalty, screws them out of the game. But I mean, it's just
I just think the taunting needs to be clear, set in stone, because that way we can transition into another game. In the Rams game, I forget who on the Bucks got the taunting penalty. In the Rams game, they hit Matt Stafford and they got the taunting penalty.
I can't remember.
Oh, it was Ndamukong Suh.
Right.
Oh,
and he
so he got his taunting penalty, right?
Yeah.
There needs to be clear. The reason I'm saying this is transition over to the Chiefs-Bills game, which was honestly, that was the best game of the weekend. That proved that there was no defense whatsoever. It was who's gonna throw the larger bomb.
Well, there was a little bit of defense up until about the last.
No, there was, but Tyreek Hill threw up his peace sign, which he had gotten a taunting penalty before in the regular season a couple years ago. He threw it up again,
That's
And
why
it-
he made the gloves, because he made
right, but he
gloves
didn't
with
he
the
didn't he
peace sign
didn't
on
throw
it.
up the glove. He threw up the actual peace sign, and they didn't throw the taunting penalty. So it's like, all right, how can you call that taunting penalty a year or two ago, and then now not call it a taunting penalty?
Nah, Tyreek was trying to tell his receiver that was blocking. He said, block two more guys, and then we'll score. That's what he was
Yeah,
trying
well,
to say.
see, that's the thing, is he ran away from everybody. So like, there was no
Yeah.
need to block anybody.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, there needs to be clear, set in stone what's taunting, what's not, because you can't say, all right, that was taunting last year, but this year, no, we're just gonna let it fly because it was the game tying
Well,
touchdown.
what bothers me about the taunting is players will get sacks and sit there and do dances and celebrate
and not get it.
and not get it, but they'll make a sack and then they'll get up and scream like or something like that, and they'll get a flag. I'm sorry, but I think dancing after a sack is more taunting than screaming.
Nah, bro, the NFL is an entertainment production. It's you're doing it for the fans, for the entertainment. So if you're dancing towards the fans, it's okay. But if you do anything towards the player, it's bad.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this Chiefs Bills game, like you did just mention. What a crazy game. Sucks. The overtime rule. We've been talking about this. In my opinion, I think, they're probably not going to change it to like the college rules where both teams get it. I think they should just play a 10-minute quarter, and whoever's winning after that quarter is the winner. And if nobody's winning, then add another quarter. I just think that it's not fair when you look at other professional leagues that the NBA, they have a limited, or they have a time limit of a 5-minute overtime period. The NHL has an overtime period.
Soccer.
Soccer has an overtime period.
A lot of times, soccer
baseball.
And I know baseball, it's not timed, but they play an extra inning. So I mean, and when
where
you look
both teams get a chance to do something offensively. I think that's just the biggest thing, because the NFL is very split. Like, all NFL players are very split on this. Keenan Allen said play defense, but then you have a majority of the league saying it was won by the coin toss, which both defenses were gassed. Let's be honest. In the final 2 minutes, that was if I was on defense, I mean, you're sucking for air.
And the Bills had just got done playing defense, albeit for 13 seconds, but they had just got done playing defense.
Right. Turn around, play defense again. It was very okay. Well, what are we doing here? Chiefs win the coin toss. They did have the momentum, of course. We knew that. But it's like, so Josh Allen doesn't even get a chance to tie the game up or anything. Like, that's where I think it needs to change a bit, because Josh Allen was also dismantling the Chiefs defense, where we would still be having the same conversation if the Bills got the ball.
Yeah.
Because the Bills would have taken it down, scored a touchdown, game over. Chiefs don't even get a chance. We don't see Patrick Mahomes. And that's why a couple years ago, that's why they're saying the Chiefs actually put in for them to change the rule after they lost to the Patriots in overtime, after Tom did it to them.
I don't like everybody's argument of change the rules. That's BS. You didn't even give the offense a chance, because of course the offense didn't get a chance. Josh Allen didn't get a chance to get back on the field, but you also got to think that this game isn't just a quarterback's game. It's an offense, defense, special teams game. And the defense, you should have stopped them. Obviously, it's hard to do that. Chiefs played great offensively, and it seems like it's unfair. But you go back to the history books, and in in overtime history, 52% of the time. So yeah, it's over 50%, but 52% of the time, the team that wins the coin toss wins the game. So I just don't want to see it's because it's recency bias. How people are seeing that it just happened, so it's BS, and it was a great game, and people wanted to see Josh Allen kind of prosper and do what he could and see if he could win the game because he played a fantastic game. But at the end of the day, like, it's in the books. In playoffs history, though, it's way skewed towards the person winning the coin toss.
But if you also look at playoff history, though, this rule wasn't implemented at the beginning, though. At the beginning, it was you play until there's a definite winner at the end of the time.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, like, with
first
this
possession.
I'm pretty sure the person who has won the coin toss is like 7-1, but in regular overtime history, it's not. That's what the rules are. I think they should change it to what Will said. I love that idea, but I don't want people to keep arguing and saying that that's the reason the Bills lost, because they like the game was ended on the coin toss.
I agree. There were a bunch of defensive players mainly being like, hey, they were tweeting and stuff, hey, play defense. Defense wins championships and all this and that. And I understand that. But like I said, you have these other leagues, other professional leagues that play out a time limit and see who's winning after that. Now, I understand football is different. You're hitting every play. It's a contact sport and all this and that. But I just think it's not fair to say, all right, if you win the toss, you're most likely going to win the game.
I mean, that's why the Falcons lost the Super Bowl, in my opinion. But also, like,
The Patriots had all the momentum. Imagine if the Falcons would have won the toss, went down there and scored. You never know. But you'll never know because we never got a chance to see it. And that's why I'm saying you play out. Because think about it. Also, imagine the ratings that game brings in if they're playing an extra 10 minutes and both teams score 3 more times.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And bettors would love it. Bettors would love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
or hate it.
Besides talking about the overtime, and Patrick Mahomes played a great game, but Josh Allen proved that he can step up to the plate and if
so
need be, and so can Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying
I want to give Gabriel Davis his flowers.
Gabriel Davis caught two touchdowns of the last 3 to win the game.
He caught all 4. He had 8 receptions, 201 yards.
I'm thinking of I'm thinking of the 2-point conversion. Stephon Diggs caught the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, but that's what I wanted to talk about. Gabriel Davis, Jimmy. If you want to talk about him, you can.
Yeah, I mean, Gabriel Davis is a great fit to this team. Obviously, I've always thought he was a really good route runner, but always kind of undermined by Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley even. And I think he finally got his chance to break out, and this is huge for him. Big confidence boost for Josh Allen. Josh Allen now realizes that he's got a legitimate 3 great receivers that he can throw to on any given down. I think his little post route was one of the greatest routes, but greatest reaction from a defender that I've seen him.
He broke him.
Absolutely dropped him. It was fantastic to watch. He's catching all the balls. Great game. Josh Allen looked good. Great. Gabriel Davis looked good. Stephon Diggs, 3 receptions, 7 yards on his redemption game. But that game was about Gabriel Davis.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, he caught 6 touchdowns in the regular season and caught 4 last game. Yeah. I think, like you said, though, they have a great trio where Cole Beasley, he's around the 8 to 10 range as far as the top slot receivers in the league, in my opinion, still, even though he's getting older. Just because he's so smart and knows he has a high football IQ. And then you got Stephon Diggs, who had 3 receptions for 7 yards, which we all know Stephon Diggs is a top 10 receiver in the league, arguably top 5.
He's top 5.
Yeah. For me, he's top 5. He's not 2, 3, 4, or 5. Anyways, no, I'm kidding. And he didn't really do much today. And then you have Gabriel Davis, who is that big, possession type receiver who can also run, deep routes if you need him to. So I think they have a great trio. I was actually watching the TikTok I got a notification on the TikTok that we made of who has the best receiving core in the league. And that's why it made me think of that trio.
Well, I mean, trios of receiving cores and offenses and defenses, they're fantastic. And defenses do win championships. But special teams and kickers win divisional rounds, and I think that's a perfect lead. Obviously, that happened in every single game, walk-off kick. But the best one, in my opinion, was the Bengals-Titans.
Yeah.
Evan McPherson, I think he's an absolute badass. Walking on the field, looks like we're about to go to the AFC Championship. I think that's one of the coolest things ever said by a kicker before kicking a game-winning kick to beat the number 1 seed in their respective conference. I think that's fantastic. Let's talk about it. TJ, what's your thoughts on that game?
I am enthralled with the Bengals doing what they're doing.
Enthralled.
Yeah, big word.
Good
big
word.
I'm gonna have to look that one up. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Enthralled. I think I used it right. Anyway, Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. If you look at his track record,
you kind of used it right. That's all right. We'll make it count.
We'll let it count. He was a Heisman winner, won the national championship, first overall pick, tore his ACL. Everyone's like, how's he going to play this season? Thinking he's going to overcompensate. Now he has 2 playoff wins. They're playing in the AFC Championship. He has more playoff wins than Dak Prescott's had in his first 6 seasons at the Cowboys. Yeah, I said what I texted y'all. I hate the Cowboys still.
Yeah, I do. They said
think we all
Brett
do.
Favre. They said Brett Favre has more retirements than Dak has playoff wins.
But if you look at it, Joe Burrow, they played a good game, but that was who's got the better defense. In a sense of Ryan Tannehill threw 3 picks, but I don't think all 3 picks were on him necessarily.
I thought
Yeah.
the first one was his fault.
The first one was 100% his fault.
Not
But
the other 2 weren't 100% his fault.
The other 2 were tipped, and you can't really do anything about that.
As a quarterback, I absolutely hate blaming something on a receiver because I just feel like if I throw a pick any kind of way, it's my fault somehow because that's how it is, right? But when he threw that curl in the fourth quarter with 20-something seconds left, that receiver has to come back to the ball and attack the ball with his hands. He can't just sit there and allow the defender come in and punch it out, let it pop up in the air. Logan Wilson, great timing, great place. I mean,
and then the other one,
job.
I mean, he kind of threw into like double, triple coverage kind of,
Yeah.
and it bounced off the receiver's hand. So like you could say, oh, well, he shouldn't have threw it there because there's probably somebody else open. But at the same time, he was throwing to, I'm pretty sure it was AJ Brown, who is his best receiver. So
yeah.
And I think the Bengals can play well against the Chiefs.
I'm riding the Bengals train. I want them to play.
I want them to win because I don't want to see Jackson Mahomes at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I really don't want to see him.
I really don't want to see that. I don't want to see him dancing.
I think the whole
logo.
world is kind of rooting against the Chiefs because of Mahomes.
That's the thing. It's like
Mahomes.
like Patrick Mahomes is hated not because of Patrick Mahomes. He's hated because of his wife and his brother.
God, even my dad called me the other day. He was like, I hate Patrick's brother. And I was like, what the hell?
But I think it's hilarious that oh God, that just completely slipped.
Shout out to my dad.
I'm sorry.
Okay, while you're rethinking it,
yeah.
The one correction that I think that the Bengals need to somewhat help this week so that they have a chance to beat the Chiefs, they got to reduce the sack numbers. You can't have Joe Burrow be sacked 9 times. There was only one other QB that's done that, and it was Donovan McNabb in 2003. He got sacked 8 or more times and still won the game.
Yeah, that was crazy that they did not lose that game, and I put that more on. I think that if the Titans didn't throw 3 interceptions, I think they would have won this game by probably 2 or 3 scores.
Okay, question. If Derrick Henry doesn't play, do they win the game?
Honestly, I felt like what was his name? Foreman.
Yeah.
I felt like he had a way. I mean, it was Derrick Henry's first game back, but like, I don't know. Derrick Henry was getting stopped at the line every time. Like
he was nothing. He was not a force in the game at all. And now his intro was kind of hype. It gave me a little bit of goosebumps. And it was cool to see him return, but
I don't. That's a tough question because I was actually thinking that during the game. I was like, dang, they gave Derrick Henry. Let me look at it. They gave him 20 carries and he only had 60 yards, which is not very Derrick Henry like. And Foreman, I mean, he had that long 45-yard run. But I mean, he only
how many defenders did he break on that one?
Probably like 4 or 5, dude.
It was a nice run. And in all honesty, he looks like a mini Derrick Henry, like out on the field sometimes.
I thought it was for a second.
Yeah, but I think that we anticipated Derrick Henry to, at least score 1 touchdown, have a decent game, but I didn't think he played good at all.
No, he didn't, and that's a big reason why the Titans did lose. So now we got a really, really exciting Final Four. You got the Bengals playing the Chiefs. Chiefs are looking like the hottest team in football right now, besides the other team on the other side, which is the Rams. And the Rams playing the 49ers. It's such a confusing Final Four. Nobody really expected this coming into the playoffs and even into the divisional round. But this is going to be super, super exciting. I'm super excited to see all this electric offense that's about to happen. You've 4 of the greatest kind of like young talents and electrifying offenses in the league. And I'm super excited for it. And I think any of these games can go any way. There's not a set like, oh, this team is going to win. This team's better than the other team. So,
Rams Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Ooh, hot take.
Hey,
I-
at the beginning of the
I
season,
hope so.
at the beginning of the season, I said Rams and Chiefs. That's still up. That's still up for grabs. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's
going,
still
I'm
up for
going Rams
grabs.
and Chiefs.
I am thinking it's going to be the Rams and Chiefs as well. But I also did say at the beginning of this that if there's any super wild card team that's a team that's, lower ranked that can make it to the Super Bowl, it's the 49ers. And they're still in contention for that. So I'm going to say Rams Chiefs as well, but I will not be surprised whatsoever if it's 49ers Bengals. But this has been fun, guys. This is a great conversation. You guys are crazy for not thinking this was the greatest weekend in division playoff history. So, but we'll see in the next one. We got some NBA talk coming next week as well, but we'll see you soon. See you guys.
See you guys.
See ya.